ATMC TV's Game of the Week is brought to you by J.P. Russ & Son Grading and Clearing, Community Finance of South Carolina, Grissetown Longwood Fire and Rescue's Haunted Trail, The Doghouse Grill 2, Strand Termite and Pest Control, the Brunswick Beacon, and ATMC.
Welcome to Jack Campbell Stadium, the site of your ATMC TV Game of the Week. Tonight, the 9-0 undefeated Hoggard Vikings have made the trip from Wilmington to Boiling Spring Lakes to take on the 3-6 South Brunswick Cougars. Jay, the Cougars had some momentum earlier in the season. They've stumbled a bit as of late, and they have their hands full tonight with the number 5 ranked team in 4A football in North Carolina, and we were watching Hoggard warm up before the game. Josh Jones, the quarterback, is a big kid.
He's really big. He's 6'3", 210-pound senior. What's this kid done this year? He's completed 67% of his throws for 1,788 yards. 25 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's also ran for 100 yards. He scored 3 times running at football. And last week in their 50-0 win over North, he had 5 touchdowns, Sam. This guy is legit. He is the real deal. He's got a lot of help out there when he goes up top. Anthony Scavone, number 8, 6 foot, 180-pound junior. Wide receiver, leads the team in receptions with 26, 509 yards and 7 TDs. Number 3 in the area in receptions. By the way, Jones is number 2 in passing. That's because Blake Walston is having a phenomenal year at New Hanover. Defensively, watch out for number 90, big Daniel Eason. He's a senior defensive tackle. Leads the team in total tackles with 52, including 13 for loss. And special teams, hey, Craig Underwood's got a guy that can do it. Jeremiah Kim, a junior kicker, place kicker, 43 for 46 point after, 6 for 8 field goals, long 39 yards, and he also handles punting, 35 yards a kick. No wonder these guys are undefeated.
And Jay, for a South Brunswick team coming in, one way you might not stop this potent Hoggard offense, but you can at least contain them. One way South could pull that off is by picking up some first downs in the running game themselves.
Well, they could, and the guy that they might look to do that tonight is number 34, Brad Warmuth, 5'6", 210 pounds, kind of like a fire hydrant, right? He's the kind of guy you don't want to have to tackle because he's going to hit you. 375 yards, a couple of scores, 26 tackles, 4 sacks defensively. Gets a lot of help defensively from 62, Norman Jibke. 5'10", a big guy, 275, 66 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss and 4 sacks. And keep an eye on number 79, Rashawn Roberts, another big guy, 6'4", 318 pounds, 31 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss. You know, it's senior night here at South, and these 3 guys we just talked about are seniors, and there's a lot of other seniors on this team that you kind of think maybe they're going to step it up tonight. They've got a lot on the line and a chance to knock off a team that's really on a roll, which is of course Hoggard. And the other thing to remember about South, 3 losses this year by 7 points or less, so don't be deceived by their record. It's a pretty good football team, and they were on a roll. They got a tough team to try to get well against tonight, but senior night, anything can happen.
And perhaps the final home game at Jack Campbell Stadium for the South Brunswick seniors. We've got Hoggard 9-0 against South Brunswick 3-6. Stay with us for the opening kickoff. Set for the opening kickoff on your ATMC TV High School Football Game of the Week. Joined as always by color maestro Jay Combs. I'm Sam Hickman on the play-by-play. Thank you for joining us on our ATMC TV Game of the Week. Jay got a treat for the folks tonight. Not all the time you get to see the number 5 ranked team in Class 4A football, the Hoggard Vikings. They've made the trek to BSL tonight for a matchup with the 3A South Brunswick Cougars.
They are legit, Sam Hickman, averaging nearly 39 points a game, only give up 6.6, and got one of the premier quarterbacks in all of area high school football.
Jeremiah Kim's opening kick is returned out. South Brunswick's got a nice return across the 25. The return man is knocked down at the 27. Looks like that was number 11, Tim Harrington, with the 27-yard return. South Brunswick 1st and 10 from its own 28 to start the game.
28-yard line.
So the quarterback for South is a good one, Mason Phillips. He's a 5'11", 165-pound junior, does a little bit of everything, can run, can pass, also plays defense, probably sells tickets, but he's a fun player to watch, and South puts a lot of responsibility on him.
South in the shotgun formation. That handoff is a nice big gain for the Cougars across the 40, out to the 45. That was number 40.
45-yard line, Alex Brown on the run.
Excuse me, 24. Sorry, partner. That's number 24, Alex Brown, with a big gain, 17 yards on the first play.
The roster lists Alex Brown as a sophomore, 5'11". That's cool. But they say he's only 125 pounds. He looks a little bigger than that and certainly looked pretty quick, getting through a good hole off the right side of the South Brunswick OL.
Brown's going to carry again. This time he is met at the line of scrimmage. Big number 10, Mackenzie Frazier, in on that tackle with several other Vikings. So 2nd and 10 coming up for the South Brunswick Cougars.
Yeah, Frazier's a senior, 47 tackles, Sam, in 9 games, 11 tackles for loss. This is a real good defensive unit. The Vikings only giving up, as I mentioned, 6.6 points per game. Came in, had a shutout last week, 50-0 against North.
2nd and 10 from the South Brunswick 45-yard line. Phillips hands off up the middle to Brown. He's met at the line of scrimmage, Jay. I believe that was big number 9, who we saw earlier in the year, Mr. Christian Holler. Yeah. Nice-looking high school football player.
He is a stud. 58 tackles, 3 sacks, 19 times this year he has taken down ball carriers for a loss, that being Christian Holler.
Jay, the times we've seen South Brunswick very capable in the passing game. Let's see if we get a look here. They're going to throw the screen. Hoggard's got it covered pretty well, and Lee makes the grab, reaches out across the 45 to about the 47, but he's brought down well shy of the line to gain, and that's going to bring up a punting situation.
What a nice play, Sam, by Tayshawn James from his defensive back position. Really came up and had an open field tackle, which sometimes becomes a real challenge, but not for James that time. Brought down the ball carrier and sets up the punt situation for South.
Our first look at South Brunswick punter Declan Hall. Hoggard gets a nice rush there, but Hall gets it away. A big high punt fielded by Pipkin inside the Hoggard 25-yard line. Nice job by Hall there getting that away and pinning Hoggard inside its own 25.
Yeah, Declan Hall handles some of the punting for South Brunswick. A lot of times Mason Phillips handles punting, and they both, Hall averages about 29 yards a punt. Phillips about 25. That time Hall did a pretty good job of at least changing field position fairly well for South Brunswick. Get our first look tonight at a really good high school quarterback, Josh Jones.
And Jay, you said Hall's averaging 29 yards a punt. He kicked that one 30 on the nose, so right there with his season average. That's a handoff around the left side, snuffed out by South Brunswick. That's number 42, Tyran Wade, who is one of the leading tacklers on this South Brunswick team. Nice opening play by the Cougar defense.
55 tackles on the season for Tyran Wade. Another one of those seniors. You know, it is senior night here at South, and a little more emotion, a little more excitement in the game. These guys know the last time they're going to be suiting it up here as seniors for South.
Jones in the shotgun formation, 2 receivers to the bottom, 3 to the top. Jones gets the snap. He throws a quick stop route. Nice tackle by the South Brunswick defensive back. I believe that was Harrington who made the tackle. The pass was caught by Chris Towdle, the junior wide receiver.
Towdle's number 6 in the area in receptions. He comes into tonight's contest, 21 catches for the year, making 22 now. 358 yards and 6 scores. So one of the principal targets for Josh Jones.
And of course, we've talked about Anthony Scavone, the big, talented wide receiver for Hoggard, leads the area in touchdown catches. Really nice player. Jones rifles a pass to wide receiver number 8. That is Scavone. He's across the 35, dropped down at the 37 for a Vikings first down.
Yeah, Scavone, not real big. Well, pretty good size, 6 foot, 181. Only a junior. So he's got another season, but that would be catch number 27 on the season for Anthony. Over 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. As you mentioned, Sam, one of the leaders in the area in that category.
Jay, I've heard you say countless times, sometimes the best pass defense is a good pass rush, but Jones is so adept at getting the ball out of his hands quickly, it's tough to get back to him. As Hoggard running back John Bennett runs through the teeth of the South Brunswick defense across midfield to the South Brunswick 48 for 15 yards and a Vikings first down.
John Bennett averages 4.2 yards per carry, Sam. 3 touchdowns on the season, over 205 yards for the senior, and picks up a first down for the Vikings.
Jones under center, single back. The handoff goes straight up the middle to number 14, Evan Manning, the senior fullback and tight end. Manning gets to the 45-yard line for a gain of 3.
A lot of guys in that Cougar line. That time number 4-2. That's that Wade young man again, Tyron Wade. 6 foot, 230 pounds. They've got some size. Rayshawn Roberts, we mentioned, at 318 pounds. And
of course, Norman, yeah. 2nd and 7 for the Vikings from the South Brunswick 45-yard line. A flag comes in late there, a whistle stop play. That is a dead ball, false start penalty on the Vikings, so that is going to force the Hoggard offense into a 2nd and 12 situation from midfield.
I know last week when Hoggard defeated North, they amassed 378 yards of total offense. And my guess is a lot of that second half with such a huge lead, they probably didn't really show a lot of offense. But one of the things that Coach Underwood was concerned about coming out of that game was they picked up 70-odd yards of penalties. And, man, you're getting down here, this is week 10. You don't want to be getting penalized like that.
Boy, Jones fakes the handoff. He's looking for a receiver deep. He's got a man short. Pass is complete to Manning on the far sideline. And I believe they almost get the penalty yardage back, but it's going to bring up a 3rd and long situation for the Vikings.
It's one of the good things about Jones, and there's a lot to like about the senior. That time rolled right and really was kind of looking out over the field. I don't think Manning was the principal receiver, but he went through the guys that were running the routes and checked back to Manning and picked up the 5 yards.
Jay, a nice job there by the South Brunswick defense staying at home on the bootleg play as Jones is looking for a receiver. He fires one. It's complete to Pipkin, who's got it. He's across the 10, fighting off South Brunswick tacklers, is dragged down 5 yards from the end zone. A 41-yard strike from Jones to Pipkin, and the Vikings are in business.
Yeah, not sure what happened to South secondary that time because Pipkin came out of nowhere, totally undefended, and you don't want to give Josh Jones a target like that. Rifled the ball indeed, Sam. Pipkin, 18 catches now on the year. But boy, Josh Jones just looks so calm and polished. really, really a strong arm and makes good decisions. Everything you want in a quarterback, you're going to get out of Josh Jones.
Jones rolls to his left, rifles a pass to the front corner of the end zone. That's Hauser, makes the grab, holds on to it after the hit, and Hoggard is on the board with 6:37 left in the opening period. It's Hoggard 6, South Brunswick 0.
It didn't take the Vikings long, did it, Sam Hickman? Methodically marched down the field. The big play, the 41-yard pass to Pipkin, but Josh Jones expertly managing the offense, and we'll see our first look tonight at Jeremiah Kim, who 43 for 46 point after this year. Has had a lot of practice for sure.
Good snap, good hold. Kim's kick is up, and it splits the uprights, and Hoggard has a 7-0 lead with 6:37 left here in the opening period, which gives us the chance to thank a couple of our sponsors on your game of the week. J.P. Russ & Son, serving Brunswick County since 1947. J.P. Russ & Son has become the local leader in all your heavy equipment needs. Paving, grading, clearing, drainage, and much more. J.P. Russ & Son will haul any material, even rock. Give them a call at 754-6023. We'd also like to thank Community Finance of South Carolina, which offers personal and title loans with the most competitive rates in the area. Located right across the border in Little River, Community Finance provides quick approval so you can have cash in minutes. Jay, don't forget to visit them online at cfscloans.com.
And again, our sincere thanks to all of our corporate sponsors who, without their help, be tough bringing these games to you every week. I think they got a pretty good band here tonight, Sam, at South Brunswick. We're right beside them. I'm sure the folks at home can hear them quite well, too.
And Jay, I believe Matt Clark wanted to run that one out, but of course in high school, if the ball crosses the goal line, it's an automatic touchback. So South Brunswick will have to take over 1st and 10 back in their own territory. 6:28 left here in the first quarter on your ATMC TV game of the week. Jay, it's a really good Hoggard football team.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's simple, but I mean, it is what it is. They do everything well. They can run it, throw it, they tackle, they block. Just a great high school football team, plain and simple.
They got a program at Hoggard, Sam, and there's a difference between having a good year and having a good program. And Hoggard strings them together every year. They're so competitive. And this year, where are they this week? 5 in the state?
5th in the state.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. So Craig Underwood's squad kind of teeing things up. I mean, they got this game here tonight. Of course, you don't want to overlook that. But next week they'll finish up with the annual battle against New Hanover, and probably both teams will be coming into that game undefeated, and the 2 premier quarterbacks. There'll be some college scouts looking at that game next week.
Boy, Jay, if this Josh Jones can't play quarterback in college, then I don't know as much as I think I do about football, because he is quite the player. Jay, that ball's on the ground. That fumble's recovered by the Vikings, and Hoggard might score. They're going to. That's big number 20, Rhett Cromartie, picks up the fumble at the 30-yard line, races around the left side for a defensive touchdown, and the Vikings lead 13-0, 5:35 left in the opening frame.
Yeah, that ball just looked like the center snap to Mason Phillips. He just never controlled the ball, and then it took kind of a crazy hop, as football sometimes do, and went right into Rhett Cromartie's hands, and Cromartie showed he knows what to do when he has the rock, and goes 30 for 6. So 30-yard fumble recovery, 13 zip. Hoggard came out to see if he can make it 14.
The extra point attempt is good.
Kim's extra point is up and good, and with 5:35 left in the first quarter, Hoggard 14, South Brunswick 0. Boy, Jay, it was going to be a tough task for the Cougars, anyway. They played a perfect game, but, turnovers, as always, they come back and bite you.
Yeah, they really do. And you know, it's funny, Sam, you were saying perfect, and I was thinking in my mind, if South Brunswick had a chance tonight, they would have to play nearly a perfect game. I think most any teams that go up against Hoggard are going to have to do that. They're just that good, and so you're right. Mistakes can really hurt you in so many different ways. In that one, the pain was instant, right? You fumble, you pick it up, you rumble and stumble your way for 30 yards by Cromartie, and a 14-0 early lead here in the first quarter at South Brunswick. Homecoming night, senior night,
yeah. And Jay, you touched on this in the introduction tonight. It can be deceiving. You know, South Brunswick's playing Hoggard tonight. It's 14-0 already. This is a much improved South Brunswick team. You know, don't let what happens tonight or a 3-6 record deceive you. It's remarkable the job Rocky Lewis has done with this program. Really nice return by Matt Clark, still on his feet. Jay, the Cougars have some life as Clark is across his own 40, dragged down at the 45. Big time return by number 10, Matt Clark.
Well, that's that third element of football, right? Offense, defense, and special teams. And you know, you talk about kids that have had a pretty good season in high school football. You gotta talk about Matt Clark, 5'9", 152-pound senior, leading receiver for South Brunswick, 25 catches, 355 yards, a couple of scores. Earlier in the year, he was leading the area in receiving, and he's still among the leaders in that category, and certainly showed his ability to return kicks on that great run back and give South excellent field position to start out this possession.
1st and 10 from the South 45. Phillips fakes the handoff, pitches it, and the ball carriers drop down at the 42-yard line for a 3-yard loss. That's Zane Tittle, I believe, on the carry, loses 3.
Cameron Kite on the stop, and
2nd and 13.
Phillips faked, but to tell you what, didn't fake Kite. 33 tackles from his linebacker position out there and wrapped up the ball carrier Tittle with little, if any, issues.
Jay, this will be the inaugural year of the All-Brunswick Beacon team, doing like an area football team with the Beacon, and a really good chance Matt Clark's going to be on there somewhere. I just love watching that kid play. He's a tough runner as the pass falls incomplete, which will bring up a 3rd and 13.
I do not envy your task to try to...
A lot of good talent.
Yeah, we've seen some excellent games this year, some superb individual talent, and certainly when you're looking at some of the top players who have distinguished themselves this year, yeah, Matt Clark's going to get some consideration.
Phillips drops back on 3rd and 13. He's looking for a receiver. He can't find anybody. Tries to run away from the Hoggard defense, but he is sacked at the 41-yard line for a loss of 1. And that's going to bring up a 4th and 14 for the Cougars.
That's one of those you can run, but you can't hide. And good pursuit that time by the Hoggard defense. And
is that a coverage sack, Jay?
Well, could be. You know, Mason didn't have much going on downfield and tried to pick up a little bit.
Jay, it's always much easier on defense when you can get pressure with your front 4. Hall fields a low snap. He gets the kickoff. It's a short one, and a really nice job by Pipkin to come up before it takes a bounce. He calls for the fair catch at the 35-yard line. You know, simple little play there, Jay, but that's one of those that shows you, you know, Hoggard's good in all areas. If that ball hits the ground, it might bounce another 15, 20 yards, and you're starting inside your own 20. Instead, the Vikings take over at their own 35.
Yeah, and I tell you what else, if CJ watches the tape on that, he's probably going to wish he hadn't fair caught it, because I believe he'd still be running, Sam.
Well, he'd have crossed the goal line by now.
Yeah, those low kicks, and when you get a running start to receive them, that's a lot of the times when you see big kick punt returns. But Good decision by Pipkin to just turn it over to this offense. They seem to know what they're doing.
Jones hands the ball off straight up the middle there, trying to get a number on the ball carrier. I think that's Lloyd Giroux there, the senior running back, Giroux.
So I'm curious about this kid, because I was looking at their numbers today, and Giroux, 333 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaging 5.2 yards per carry, but the stats only had him playing 5 games. So I'm thinking, wow.
Injury maybe?
Half a season, he's got pretty good numbers, right?
Yeah, and they've played without one of their biggest guns and are still 9-0.
Exactly.
That's Hauser who takes the speed around the right side. Nice job by the South Brunswick defense. Guess who, Jay? That's 42, Tyran Wade, with another tackle behind the line of scrimmage. His second tackle for loss tonight.
Yeah, he's off to a pretty good start here in the first quarter. Is Mr. Wade, one of those seniors that, you know, when the last time you're going to suit up on your home field, South has another game left in this season, by the way, likely a pretty important game, and we'll talk about that, you know, as the night continues. But Wade certainly off to a good start here in the first quarter.
3 minutes, 5 seconds left in the opening period. Jones takes the snap, rolls to his left. He rifles a pass to Towdle. He's still rumbling for yardage. Down all the way to the 41-yard line, a 22-yard completion from Jones to Towdle.
Can't give that kid that much separation, and that's what the defensive backs did that time. Chris Towdle, 21, 22, 23 catches now on the season for the very talented junior, and a big kid, a big target, Sam, 6'4", 215 pounds, and he had 5 yards before there was a defender on him that time.
And Jay, this Hoggard's had 2 offensive possessions, and in the early downs, the South Brunswick defense playing pretty well. That's 2 3rd and 8s that Hoggard has converted here in the first quarter. They have kept drives alive.
And when Jones goes up top, it's a different game.
Boy, Jay, this Lloyd Giroux is a big kid, and he would have had more yardage there had he not been tripped up by the turf monster.
5'11", 240 pounds. You see him there in your picture, 3'4", and he looks every bit the part of 240. How would you like to tackle him, Sam Hickman?
I wouldn't.
What would you have done if Yogi said, Sam, bring that man down, or you don't eat this week?
Is tripping legal?
I think so.
Then that's what I would have done.
You might have had to do it to bring down big Lloyd Giroux. But anyway, glad to see him play, and I hope he's healthy.
Oh, Tyran Wade almost got to the quarterback, Josh Jones. He delivered a big hit, and the pass was nearly intercepted there. South Brunswick had that well covered as that pass was intended for Anthony Scavone.
They did have well covered, and listen, as superhuman sometimes Josh Jones seems to play. That's a good illustration of if you put some pressure on a quarterback, it's a little different game, right? And so he did get pressured that time by Wade and still delivered a pretty good throw, didn't he?
Yeah, catchable ball there, Jay.
I think that was just good defense, secondary defense by South Brunswick, set up this 3rd down situation.
Jones fakes the handoff. He's running around the right side, fires a pass complete. Pipkin still on his feet, makes a man miss inside the 10, hurdles another South Brunswick defender down at the 1-yard line. 33-yard gain from Jones to Pipkin.
Boy, and Sam, it's another kid that probably doesn't get the attention perhaps that he deserves it. Now, this is Pipkin and limping off the field. Hope he's okay, but what a great individual effort.
That's why he's returning punts, Jay. What you saw there at the end of that play, sidestepping a guy, hurdling a guy, making a guy miss.
Juking you here, juking you there, and Mr. Pipkin doing his thing, almost into the end zone, just shy.
Hoggard in the I formation on this 1st and goal play, and the South Brunswick defense wants to take a look as they call a timeout with 1:30 to go here in the first quarter, and gives us a chance to thank the Brunswick Beacon for its sponsorship of tonight's game. Your community newspaper since 1962, the Brunswick Beacon is your source for local news, sports, and features. Subscribe to the Beacon today, 754-6890, or visit brunswickbeacon.com. I'd also like to remind our Game of the Week viewers that the Brunswick Beacon is hosting its annual Holiday Happening Show at Shallotte Middle School on November 11th, a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Jay, I don't know if you've ever been to the Holiday Happening Show, but there's vendors, Santa Claus there for the kids. It is a big time. The Sheriff's Office pet adoption. You have the opportunity to adopt a pet that day. I know you and Miss Terrace are looking around. Nevertheless, first and goal from the 1-yard line. Jones fakes the handoff. He's got a receiver wide open. That's Evan Manning, who corrals the pass, crosses the goal line for another Hoggard touchdown. The third score of the first quarter for the Vikings.
Well, nobody picked up Evan Manning that time. He was all alone, and holy cow, Josh Jones doesn't need much of a window to deliver the ball. That time he had half the world that he could choose from, and rifles at the Manning for the score. Kim out for his third PAT attempt, and we're still in the first quarter.
High snap, good job by the Hoggard holder there. Got it down on the tee, and Kim bangs it through. And the Vikings lead 21-0 with 1:25 seconds left here in the first quarter. A special thanks to all of our ATMC TV viewers for going out this year and supporting the Grissettown Longwood Fire and Rescue Haunted Trail. Jay, I had a group of co-workers who went last weekend to the Haunted Trail down there in Grissettown, and once again I got rave reviews. And I went a couple years ago, but fellow co-workers at the Beacon, you know, it was a 25-minute thing from start to finish. I mean, this is a production they put on down there, and a special thanks to those guys down there for being a sponsor for our ATMC TV Game of the Week.
Yeah, they've been with us from Jump Street, Sam.
That's right.
What a blessing it's been to have those guys, and what a blessing it is that they do for the community at large. So it's a great time of the year, and they certainly help make it fun.
Also, special happy birthday shout-outs to Mr. Yogi Higman, who turned 63 this past Tuesday, and to my mother, Gail Higman, who will turn 49 this coming Saturday, November 4th, as Kim bangs the kickoff into the end zone for a touchback.
Well, two observations. One, you were raised well to understand that, you know, how old your lovely mom Gail is. I get that. And secondly, I never thought Yogi was born. I just assumed he was hatched. So the fact that he was born, that's good news. That's good news.
Learn something new every day.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
The most interesting man in Brunswick County. You know, Jay, Dad has a shirt that says "Local Legend." If you don't know me, you must not be from around here. I think it fits him pretty well. That's Tittle. You know, he's carrying the ball more tonight than we've seen. Zane Tittle with the carry, no gain, 2nd and 10 from the 20.
Well, I think old Zane would like to have just a little bit more help up front. Hard to run if there's no hole in you know, the OL for South trying to muscle up against this big, tough Viking defensive front seven.
Phillips in the shotgun, a back to his left and right, 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Phillips fakes the handoff. He's got a receiver, but it's off of the hands of number 2, Keyshawn Smith there, and it falls incomplete. We'll bring up a 3rd and 10.
Cromartie made a heck of an effort that time trying to come up with the deflection. Had he been successful, that would have been his second one of the night. He already picked up a fumble and ran it back for a score, and almost came up with the INT.
Leading the team in takeaways tonight, Cromartie. Of course, he got a 30-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown.
10th grader, too. Woo. You know, at Hoggard, that's something special.
Hoggard is going to quick kick it on 3rd and 10, and the ball is downed in South Brunswick territory at the 46-yard line, where Hoggard will take over 1st and 10 at the 46.
1st and 10 for the Vikings at the
Coach Rocky Lewis trying to catch the Vikings unaware that time and go ahead and kick the ball on 3rd down. Mason Phillips, again, as we talked about earlier, handles some of the punting along with Declan Hall. I think Coach Lewis was trying to maybe get a little leg up on some field position, but as it turns out, Hoggard's still going to get the ball inside the 50.
First and 10 for the Hoggard Vikings from the 46-yard line of South Brunswick. Hoggard leads 21-0 with 36 seconds left here in the first quarter. Jones rolls out to his right, plants his feet, rifles a pass, deflected there. I believe that might have been Phillips who knocked that. No, it wasn't. It was number 20. Correction, number 20, Jacob Regalia with the pass deflection there. Really nice play.
Good effort by Regalia, a 6'1", 165-pounder. He's a junior, 25 tackles on the year from his defensive back position, so got a hand on that one. He's not going to miss. Jones not going to miss too many open opportunities, so credit Regalia that time for breaking that one up.
Second and 10, Hauser's got it. He flips back on the reverse, but Towdle can't keep his feet, and he falls down at the Hoggard 45-yard line. That's a loss of 9 for the Vikings, who go into the bag of tricks there. That may be the last play of the first quarter there, as Towdle loses 9 yards.
Not Halloween yet, Sam Hickman. Almost, but not quite. So that treat became a trick, and going to end that first quarter. The treat is a 21-0 lead for Hoggard.
At the end of 12 minutes of game action from Jack Campbell Stadium on senior night, the host South Brunswick Cougars trail the Hoggard Vikings 21-0.
Ho, ho, ho! It's time for the 7th Annual Holiday Happenings Christmas Show. Start your holiday season early and come by on Saturday, November 11th at Shallotte Middle School. Feel the Christmas spirit as you stroll the menu and enjoy entertainment by the West Brunswick Show Choir, yummy food, fantastic gifts, holiday decor, and free pictures with Santa. The 7th Annual Holiday Happenings Christmas Show, hosted by the Brunswick Beacon and presented by these great local sponsors.
Bugs have to live somewhere. Make sure it's not your house. Strand Termite and Pest Control is ready to help you with your pest control needs. Whatever the bug, whatever the problem. From that pesky roach, ants, bed bugs, or termites damaging your house, Strand Termite and Pest Control has been helping families with their pest problems for 45 years. We can also encapsulate your crawl space to stop moisture and bugs in their tracks. We're proudly family owned and operated and have 2 locations to serve you. Don't let bugs bug you. Call for a free estimate or visit us online.
Hey, Sandman, it's Jay.
Hey, partner.
Didn't you tell me you know a guy that's got some heavy equipment? I need a load of dirt.
Don't worry, man. I got you.
Sam, this isn't what I had in mind.
He'll be done any time now.
I knew we should have called J.P. Russ & Son.
Serving Brunswick County since 1947, J.P. Russ & Son has become the local leader in all your heavy equipment needs. We also haul any material, even rock. Give J.P. Russ & Son a call today.
We're back for the beginning of the second quarter. The Hoggard Vikings have a 3rd and 19 from their own 45-yard line after losing 9 yards on a reverse attempt where receiver Chris Towdle lost his feet on a reverse play, and sets up a 3rd and mighty long 19 for Hoggard. Jones in the shotgun. He drops straight back, eludes a pass rusher that was Wade. Jones is going to take off with it. and he's got pretty good yardage, almost gets back to the original line of scrimmage. He gets to the Cougar 47 for a gain of 8, but that'll still leave Hoggard 11 yards short, and it looks like the punt team's going to come on.
Yeah, pretty good pressure that time by Tyron Wade. Forced Jones out of the pocket. Josh picked up the 8 yards, but far short of the first down. So good defensive possession for the Cougars. Let's see if they can't build something on that on this punt.
High punt there, short punt, does take a Hoggard bounce, looks to be inside the 20-yard line of South Brunswick, very close to the 20. We'll call it 27 yards of the punt, and with 11:42 left in the second quarter, South Brunswick will take over there 1st and 10.
Boy, Sam, that ball was a mile in the air. It looked like it was even higher than the light stanchions that time. Our camera guys did a great job of staying with the ball. Nathan and Aaron, all-star work.
Phillips hands it off, and South's got some running room there. Brown with a nice move past the line of scrimmage, but he's tripped up there, and he picks up 3 yards, but a positive play on first down for the Cougars.
Well, he saw big number 40 Garrett Manning coming up from his outside linebacker position, really sealed the outside and forced him up, Brown up inside. Did pick up a couple of yards.
2nd and 7 from the South 23-yard line. Oh, Phillips keeps that on the read option play, and he's dropped down behind the line of scrimmage. I think he lost about 2 yards there. He does, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 from the South 21.
35, Scott Looney. First time we've called his number tonight, but he certainly earned it on that play, making a good tackle for a loss. So it sets up a 3rd and about 9, Sam, for the Cougars.
Phillips has a screen. He's got a receiver. That was Tittle who made the catch. Maybe picked up a yard. He does pick up a yard on the completion to the 22-yard line, but that brings up a 4th and 8.
And the middle screen didn't fool anybody. Again, Scott Looney in the middle of that play. So it's going to set up a 4th down situation for South Brunswick. And this is a dangerous place to have to kick the ball.
It is, and Hoggard was awfully close on the first South Brunswick punt to blocking it. Hall has no pressure there. It's an end-over-end punt. Doesn't look like Pipkin's going to have a chance to return this one, and it ends up being a first-class punt by Declan Hall down at the 32-yard line of Hoggard. A 46-yard punt for Hall. Flips the field a little bit. Nice job by Declan Hall there.
Good kick coverage by the punt team for South Brunswick, and yeah, Hall kind of kicks him out of trouble, at least for the moment. I don't know if you're ever out of trouble when you're going up against Hoggard, because the big play capability that they have, they can pretty much hit you from any place on the field.
First and 10 from the Hoggard 33-yard line. That's Hauser around the left side, Jay. He's got some room. Across the line to gain, down the far sideline, and out of bounds in South Brunswick territory at the 48-yard line of the Cougars. That is a 19-yard gain by Trey Hauser.
Yeah, Hoggard doesn't run the ball like a lot of other high school teams run the ball, because they've got a kid that can throw the ball like Josh Jones, right? But when they do run, Trey Hauser's pretty good. Now, 149 yards coming into tonight's game, but averages 7 yards per carry. Tells you that they don't run him that much, but when he does, very effective.
That was Big Jibke in on that tackle, Jay. I couldn't tell who carried it there.
John
Was
Bennett.
that Bennett on the carry?
Yep, that's the senior John Bennett, who is one of their principal rushers, but again, not a lot of attempts. 205 yards, averages 4 yards a pop, but has scored 3 touchdowns on the ground this year for Coach Underwood's squad.
Hoggard with a 2nd and 5 from the South Brunswick 43-yard line. Jay, it's going to be a delay of game on the Hoggard offense, so a 2nd and 10 from the 48.
Again, last week, the only thing I read and heard about that was maybe a negative coming out of that 50-0 win over North was a few too many penalties for a team that's as good as Hoggard is. And you can get away with that against some squads, but when you get into the playoffs, Sam, where every week you're playing quality teams, that stuff will bite you.
Jones rifles a high pass for Tattle. It's picked off. An interception in the defensive backfield. And the South Brunswick return man still on his feet. Makes the man miss. He fumbles the ball, but the Cougars recover at their own 47-yard line. And that is an interception by number 30.
I think it was 24, Alex
24,
Brown.
Alex Brown. Sorry, Jay. I apologize to our viewers. The numbers are hard to see. Alex Brown with an interception. What happened there, partner?
Well, you know, the old tip drill, right? And Alex Brown in the right place at the right time. That is only the 3rd interception that Josh Jones has thrown all season. So excellent effort by Brown and the South Brunswick Cougar defense. See if they can't make something out of this opportunity. Good field position at around their 47 to start it. Got to get something going with Mason Phillips. Maybe he'd do it with his legs. And they got a flag.
Flag on the play.
Jay, nice to see this South Brunswick defense come up with back-to-back stops, forced a punt, and then came up with the interception. There is no lay down in this South Brunswick team. I can tell you that much.
Well, I know you've talked to Coach Lewis, and of course a pretty rich pedigree. His dad, a very, very, very successful coach on the high school level in North Carolina. I think he's got 6 state championships to his name. So.
Phillips under center this time. That handoff goes to Brown, I believe, and he picks up enough for the first down yardage. I take that back, Jay. I believe that's number 3, Deshaun Lee on the carry. That was Lee on the carry.
First down. Cougars.
Well, some of those numbers are tough. I say
Isaiah McDonald, Jay. Isaiah McDonald. I apologize.
No, they're tough to see, but McDonald, a pretty talented kid, 6'3" senior, 139 yards running the football this year.
First and 10 from the 40-yard line. Phillips keeps it on the quarterback sneak and picks up 10 yards. He just got the snap and ran right behind the center. Picks up 10 yards to the Hoggard 30.
There's those legs I was talking about, Sam. This is a very talented athlete and a tough kid, Mason Phillips. He doesn't get any rest out there. He's playing offense, he's playing defense, and just does a real good job of running this Cougar attack and smartly and aggressively picking up the first down.
Jay, I believe that was the play Phillips tried when South fumbled early in the first quarter that Cromartie picked up in return for a touchdown, just couldn't quite corral the snap. This time he does and picks up 10 yards. That's a toss sweep. This time it is Brown on the carry, fighting for yardage, and he's brought down awkwardly there. Loss of yardage on the play.
Red Cromartie with the stop, Sam, and boy, he made up a lot of ground that time. That play looked for a moment of some possibilities.
Jay Brown came up gingerly after that tackle. He was brought down very awkwardly when he lost 3 yards there.
He is coming off under his own power, but with a little bit of a limp. Looks like me, and that's me normal. So I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that about Mr. Alex Brown. There's no way that that I can.
He's a little faster than you.
Yeah, he's a lot faster, a lot better looking, a lot better everything.
Boy, Phillips short hop that pass to Isaiah McDonald there, Jay, and if he got it to him, McDonald had some running room.
Had some room, didn't he? And that little flare pass, and Isaiah just couldn't bend over enough to catch it, so sets up a 3rd and, well, pretty
13.
Long.
Jay, are you at a spot on the field where you think about maybe just getting some of the yardage back here and going for it on 4th down, or you try and get it all back here?
You know what? I think you're in 4 down territory. Look, let's look at the scoreboard, right? 21-0. You're down with 6:35 to go in the 2nd quarter. Got to score some points. It's been a problem for South all year long in terms of their ability to score, only averaging about 13 points a game.
We'd like to thank the Doghouse Grill 2 for its sponsorship of the Game of the Week. The Doghouse Grill 2 is your neighborhood hotspot, serving breakfast all day, plus delicious handmade burgers, deli sandwiches, gourmet Red Barn coffee, and dessert to satisfy your sweet tooth. Open 7 days a week for breakfast and lunch. The Doghouse Grill 2 on Beach Drive in Ocean Isle Beach. Jay, what do you think about those burgers there, the Doghouse, partner?
They are awesome. We have, in fact, you told me that Huck Hickman is a regular visitor to the Doghouse Grill. Is that true?
We love the Doghouse.
Yes, indeedy. Did you say you love the Doghouse, or you're in the Doghouse?
Both.
That's what I thought. When you talk about being in the Doghouse, whew, Phillips is, and that's with some help from Mackenzie Frazier.
Down at the 45-yard.
Loss of 12 yards on the play, so maybe not 4 down territory anymore. Now it's 4th and 25.
Yeah, Frazier doing a pretty darn good job that time, chasing Mason Phillips halfway across the field and then bringing him down for the huge loss. So yeah, whatever hopes of 4 down territory, they're gone with that loss, and Cougars will kick it away.
Declan Hall deep to punt for South Brunswick. Hoggard bringing pressure. Hall gets it away and angles it out of bounds. The referee is going to mark it out of bounds inside the Hoggard 20-yard line down at the 16. So a 29-yard punt, but a pretty good job by Hall there. And more importantly, Jay, you don't let Pipkin have a chance to return it to the house.
Yeah, true on all counts. And, man, they had the heat on that time. They dialed up the let's pressure this kick and try to block it. We weren't going to return it, and came awfully close. Hall doing a pretty darn good job of getting that ball away and pinning Hoggard inside their 20-yard line for sure, down around what, the 16, Sam? I think something like that.
1st and 10 from the 16-yard line of Hoggard. Jones back under center after throwing an interception on the last possession. Alex Brown came up with the pick. Jay, I believe that's Scavone who took the speed sweep there across. No, he's down at the 20-yard line. He picks up 4.
Scavone, a little quiet tonight. He's had a couple of catches, but came into the game this evening as the number 3 receiver in the area. 7 touchdowns on the season for the junior.
Yeah, Jay, the skill guys at New Hanover catch a lot of passes. Wiz Vaughn, of course, Freddie Taylor, Cole Tanner, Blake Walston, another premier passer in the area. That handoff goes to Giroux up the middle. He's out to the 25-yard line. And, Jay, I believe he may be about a football short there. Well, and that should bring up a 3rd and very short.
You know, you're talking about Blake Walston, and he is the leading passer. I think he's thrown for over 2,500 yards coming into this week's games. But I think he's thrown the football maybe, I bet you he's got 100 more attempts than Jones does. And Jones has got 1,700 yards.
Boy, Jay, Hoggard went out of the I formation and tried to just run it right up the middle to get the 1st down, and the South Brunswick defensive line came up with a big stop, and that's going to force a 4th down situation.
And that was big number 63, Tyler Hunley. 53 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, a couple of sacks. So he's 280, and he had Jipke, his younger, lighter partner, at 275. I maybe shouldn't say younger because they're both seniors, but lots of meat in the middle of the defensive line for South, and the Vikings got a good taste of it that time.
Will Morton deep to punt for the Vikings, who have a 4th and 2 from their own 24-yard line. It's a good snap. Morton bobbles it. He's in trouble. He's trying to run for it. He's got no room. South Brunswick knocks him out of bounds inside the Hoggard 20-yard line. And, Jay, that's pretty much the equivalent of a turnover there, as Morton couldn't corral the snap, and the Cougars are in business.
Yeah, it looked like an okay snap, but Will just couldn't come up with it and didn't have time to turn the corner and square up to go ahead and kick. So tried to make something, but good alert defensive pressure by South that time, runs him out of bounds. So this is about as good as it's going to get for South Brunswick, having the ball inside the Hoggard 20 with plenty of time to go, 3:38 in the second quarter. They can get in for a score here.
It's a 2-score game.
That's right.
Cougars are hanging tough. Phillips in the shotgun. Boy, Jay short hops that pass, and it may have been the best thing that could have possibly happened, as the Vikings were all over it.
Yeah, it looks like they had read that play pretty well, and I'm not so sure Mason didn't see the same thing a lot of folks watching this game saw, and
second down for the Cougars, and
decided let's make sure we still have possession of the football rather than Hoggard running for an 80-yard touchdown.
The other way.
The other way, yeah.
Phillips runs to the left. He's across the 20. He's brought down at the 16-yard line, so he picks up about 3 yards on the play.
Tackled by Kite. He's been in on a number of plays here. The first half tonight has the senior outside linebacker. Well, we are in 4-down territory here now, Sam Hickman. We being South Brunswick.
If you don't get it, you think about bringing on Hall for a field goal attempt, maybe just to try and get on the board here?
Well, I like points, Sam. You know, I like points, and I'm not so sure I wouldn't take them any way I could get them. And Hall's a pretty good kicker.
Phillips rolls out to his right. He's got pressure, but he's also got a receiver. I believe that's Matt Clark.
It is.
It is. Number 10, Matt Clark with a catch inside the 10-yard line. Ball's going to be spotted at the 5-yard line. That's a 12-yard completion from Phillips to Clark, and the Cougars have a 1st and goal from the Hoggard 5.
That's a money throw that time by Mason Phillips and a big-time grab by Matt Clark. 26 catches on the year. Very, very reliable receiver.
2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first half. Phillips in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, still on his feet, fighting for yardage. Eventually, he's brought down, maybe picked up a yard on the play. It looks like he got back to the original line of scrimmage, so 2nd and goal from the 5 coming up.
And Brooks Carey caught him from behind and actually maybe even pushed him forward a yard or so. So South knocking at the door. This is far and away their best scoring opportunity of the game tonight. Big guys up front, got to try to give Phillips some room or some time.
Mason Phillips in the shotgun, 2nd and goal from the 5. He fakes the handoff, rifles a pass, just out of the outstretched arms of Matt Clark. Nice design on that play, but it looked like it got on Clark just a little quickly, and he couldn't get up and snare the pass, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and goal from the Hoggard 5.
Yeah, Clark's got some good hands and gave it a good effort that time. And of course, Hoggard knows that too. He's going to be well defended out there.
Front of the bleachers near the 50-yard line. You'll be met there by Miss Satra.
Jay, what kind of play call you like here on 3rd and goal from the 5?
I like the fact that you got a mobile quarterback in Phillips, so let him make the decision with his legs or with his arm.
Phillips rolls out to his left, rifles a pass, and there is no receiver in the area. Some confusion there. And, Jay, it looks like Rocky Lewis is going to bring on the field goal team. 4th and goal from the 5.
You know, something to be said, Sam, about the psychological benefits of just getting on the scoreboard. You know, 21-0 versus 21-3, it's still a huge lead, but something about having the 3 and not having the 0 makes you feel a lot better.
1 minute, 47 seconds left before halftime. Declan Hall coming on for a 22-yard field goal attempt. Of course, Hall hit a game winner against Ashley in overtime earlier this season.
3 for 4.
Good snap. The hold is down. Hall's kick is up. And Hall splits the uprights as the Cougars get on the board. 43 left in the second quarter. Hoggard 21, South Brunswick 3. Thank you to ATMC for sponsoring our Game of the Week. Serving our community for more than 60 years, ATMC is your local provider for telephone, internet, digital cable, wireless, and home security. ATMC is a local company with local priorities. Contact them today at 755-8206 or check them out on the web at atmc.com. We'd also like to thank Strand Termite and Pest Control. Locally owned and operated, Strand Termite and Pest Control Company has served the Carolinas for more than 45 years. It provides comprehensive pest control services to ensure the safety and health of your residence or workplace. Using integrated pest management techniques and new science, it proudly offers you today's most effective treatments. Enjoy fast and friendly service along with affordable prices from Strand Termite and Pest Control.
Well, Sam, first quarter, Hoggard 21-0. Second quarter, South 3-0. How about that? That's one thing you can look at if you're a Cougar fan trying to make chicken soup out of chicken feathers here, but they played pretty good here in the second quarter.
And, Jay, that's a live ball. Bennett alertly falls on it at the 33-yard line of the Vikings. But a interesting-looking kick there, kind of a hybrid between a squib kick and an onside kick, and the Cougars nearly came up with another huge break. Nice play by Bennett for the Vikings to corral that.
Yeah, not an easy thing to do either, that Bennett really did a good job of getting and maintaining possession. Now, you got a minute 41. Sam?
I get the sense the Vikings are going to try and move this down the field and get some points after really what was, by their standards, a lackluster second quarter.
Exactly, and I think they'd like to kind of go into the locker room on a little bit of a different feeling than perhaps they have right now, even though they have a huge 18-point lead.
Jones rifles that pass to Pipkin, who catches it shy of the 40-yard line, and he's tackled inbounds. But nice completion from Jones to Pipkin on the near sideline.
I'll tell you what, he just, Jones
7-yard line.
Gets rid of the ball real quick, and that baby is on the line, Sam.
It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Jones is under some pressure there. He rolls out to his left. He's looking for some running room, and he doesn't have much. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage, picks up maybe 1 yard, but that's going to bring up a third down situation for the Vikings.
Whoever Jones was looking for early in that pass route did not come open, and he pulled it down quick. Tried to get around the left side, but good pursuit by South Brunswick sets up a third down situation for the Vikings.
Jay Hoggard struggling to find a little rhythm here offensively in the second quarter. Credit the South Brunswick defense. That's going to be a screen pass intended for Scavone, and he drops it. He drops it. That's going to force the punt team for Hoggard to come on. And so a completion to Pipkin for 4 yards, no gain on a Jones run, and an incompletion to Scavone. And look at the South Brunswick defense, bowing its neck a little bit in the second quarter, holding what is a potent Hoggard offense scoreless in this second frame.
And, you know, they got a minute 7. They get a good return here. Who knows? Or maybe they go for the block, try to make special teams play themselves.
And Morton dropped the last snap, Jay. Keep that in mind. That's a high snap. He gets off a punt. It's high in the air, very short. Bounces straight back into the air caroms across the 40-yard line down at the 39, so pretty good field position for the Cougars. But Jay, what you gotta do is avoid the turnover.
Yeah, you don't want to give up easy points to Hoggard here. So possession very, very important. Even if you got to go to the halftime break down 21-3, that's a lot better than being down 28-3. So, of course, I'm sure Coach Lewis would say, being down 21-10 would be even better, right? So the kids are going to try to do that too.
A flag is going to blow that play dead. No flag. A timeout has been called by South Brunswick. That's the third and final timeout of the first half for Rocky Lewis's South Brunswick Cougars. Jay, not just tonight, but moving forward, if you're a defensive coordinator, game planning against this Hoggard team, you take into account Pipkin, Jones, Scavone, Giroux, Bennett. What's your game plan to stop what is an offense that is averaging nearly 40 points per game?
A lot of weapons for sure, right? And
so what do you do to stop those guys?
Well, and it looks, and you know, they've got some balance, although I would think that it's a little more heavily slanted towards Jones throwing the ball. So maybe you try to get yourselves in schemes and situations where you force Hoggard to beat you on the ground. And then if they start doing that, okay, you maybe make the adjustment, but I don't think you can let Jones stand back there and pick you apart. And he's got that kind of arm that and the kind of receiving talent that allows him to do that.
Ooh, Phillips gets rid of it just in the nick of time. A really nice play in the defensive backfield by Hoggard's number 40, Garrett Manning. Jay, that's an outside linebacker covering a wide receiver and doing a great job of it. Nice throw by Phillips, too.
Well, I was getting ready to say, that was a heck of a throw by Mason Phillips. You know, you evaluate quarterbacks' throwing arms by that long pass from one hash over to the
deep out, huh?
Yeah, and that ball was right there. So I think absent the fine defensive effort by Hoggard, that's a catch. And who knows what for South.
Yeah, Jay, if Clark catches that, Manning flies by him. You got to play there. Phillips takes off, takes a big lick across the 40-yard line. Jay, the ball's on the ground. Hoggard has recovered, and just like that, the Vikings are going to take over 1st and 10 inside South Brunswick's 40-yard line.
Well, and what you didn't want to do if you're South, you did, which was turn over the ball, and you know, you got 40 seconds left. Plenty of time for Jones to do something, but also remember you got a really good place kicker in Jeremiah Kim, who is 6 for 8 with field goals this year, as long being a 39. So they don't have to go too far before you're in Jeremiah Kim's range, and Hoggard could pick up 3 if they don't end up getting 7.
Jay, I think they're going to go for the deep shot here. Just a hunch. A lot of times after a turnover, you go for the jugular right there, so we'll see what they do.
Well, they got some guys that can run the routes, and they got a guy that's got the arm to deliver.
It's a play-action pass. Deep ball. Caught by Pipkin. He wrestles his way inside the 20-yard line. Brought down at the 17. That's a 20-yard completion from Jones to Pipkin.
And the clock stops because the chains move, and it's a first down, but it's like Hoggard's taking a timeout anyway, so they're all over at the side.
Takes a timeout.
But what a rifle strike that time by Jones, and a great catch by Pipkin.
Hey, Jay, that was well covered.
Yeah.
I mean, Pipkin was covered. Great job by the South Brunswick secondary there, and Pipkin just makes a great catch. Right when he turns around, Jones is firing a missile right there at him.
How big does the window have to be? When I played, it had to be, you know, a picture window, right? For a kid like Jones, it's just got to be a little crack. Yeah, you know, because he can really deliver the football. What a really, Sam, you've said this so many times, but hard to imagine this kid can't play at the next level, and a pretty good level at that.
Jay, I feel confident enough saying that one of the best throwing high school quarterbacks I've seen, and I've seen a lot of high school football, and he can spin it with the best of them.
He can spin it, and he's big, too, at 6'3", 210. He's kind of your prototypical quarterback size.
Jones rolls out to his left looking for a receiver. He's got a man inbounds. The ball is caught, trying to see who made the catch there. Trey Hauser. Jay, a referee comes in from the back. The back judge comes in and says pass incomplete. So that does stop the clock with 19 seconds left. I believe Hoggard is asking the referees to put more time back on there because when it was initially ruled a catch, some time was ticking off.
Yep. Coach Underwood and the staff watching that clock for sure. So second down and 10. Clock saying 19-7. Hoggard sent it in their place.
And Jay, it doesn't appear that any time's going to go back on the clock, but it was ticking there as the play was initially ruled a completed catch. 19.7 seconds left in the first half. Hoggard 21, South Brunswick 3. Vikings 2nd and 10 from the South 17. Pass is completed out to Scavone, trying to make a guy miss. He's tackled inbounds. The game clock is still running. Hoggard is going to call a timeout with 9.5 seconds left here in the first half.
Well, I don't know what their timeout situation is, Sam. If they got one more.
One more.
So if they have one more, they've got enough time to take a shot at the end zone, and if they come up short, they can call timeout and get the kick team in.
4 yards on that completion from Jones to Scavone. So after the timeout, Hoggard's going to have a 3rd and 6 from the South Brunswick 13-yard line. And Jay, with a timeout left, at least by my count, that's unofficial, of course, you can still use the middle of the field here because if you get tackled and the clock's still running, maybe you call a quick timeout and have a field goal left.
Oh, yeah, everything's open.
The game clock has been reset to 12 seconds, so that also gives the Vikings a little more time. About 2 3/10 of a second added, so instead of 9.7, there's 12 seconds left here before halftime. Hoggard leads 21-3. Jones with 2 touchdown passes in the first 24 minutes. Cromartie with a 30-yard fumble recovery and return for a touchdown.
Maybe time for Scavone.
Nope. A quarterback draw. Jones has got it around the left side across the goal line for a Hoggard touchdown. Great play call by the Hoggard Vikings. Jones races across the goal line with 5 seconds left in the first half. Boy, deflating play there for South Brunswick. They had fought so hard in the second quarter, kind of crawled their way back into this game, and now it's 27-3. Vikings with 5 seconds left here before halftime.
Jones doesn't run that much, but he does have over 100 yards, and that is his 4th rushing touchdown of the year.
Kim on for the extra point attempt. Good snap, good hold. Kim blasts that one all the way back to the South Brunswick track. And with 5 seconds left here remaining in the first half, it's Hoggard 28, South Brunswick 3.
That's a great call, Sam, by Craig Underwood and his offensive staff. The quarterback draw that time really caught everybody unawares.
At halftime, it's 18-14.
Jones goes into the end zone untouched, and the 4th TD of the night for Hoggard, and giving them a 28-3 lead with just 5.5 seconds to go here in the half.
Jay, for our ATMC TV Game of the Week viewers, tell them a little bit about what we got in store for them next week. Kind of a big deal when West and South get together, isn't it?
That's a big one anyway, right? Even if there weren't playoff implications involved?
If there weren't, but there are.
Yeah.
And from what I understand from my friends at the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, the winner of that game will earn a 3A playoff berth. So as if the rivalry wasn't enough and, you know, the pride wasn't enough, your literal life of your season is on the line next week from MH Rourke Stadium in Charlotte.
That's going to be a good one. And again, when those two teams play each other, because of the rivalry situation, it's always fun and a great game. But when you salt in the fact that the winner goes on and the loser goes home, makes it even more appealing.
And South Brunswick recovers the squib kick. Return man brought down inside the South Brunswick 35, and that's going to do it for the first half. South Brunswick played Hoggard competitively in the second quarter, but a big first quarter was just too much for the Cougar defense. After 24 minutes of game action, it's undefeated Hoggard 28, South Brunswick 3. We'll be back for the second half.
Ho, ho, ho! It's time for the 7th Annual Holiday Happenings Christmas Show. Start your holiday season early and come by on Saturday, November 11th at Shallotte Middle School. Feel the Christmas spirit as you stroll the venue and enjoy entertainment by the West Brunswick Show Choir, yummy food, fantastic gifts, holiday decor, and free pictures with Santa. The 7th Annual Holiday Happenings Christmas Show, hosted by the Brunswick Beacon and presented by these great local sponsors.
Bugs have to live somewhere. Make sure it's not your house. Strand Termite and Pest Control is ready to help you with your pest control needs. Whatever the bug, whatever the problem. From that pesky roach, ants, bed bugs, or termites damaging your house, Strand Termite and Pest Control has been helping families with their pest problems for 45 years. We can also encapsulate your crawl space to stop moisture and bugs in their tracks. We're proudly family owned and operated and have 2 locations to serve you. Don't let bugs bug you. Call for a free estimate or visit us online.
Hey, Sandman, it's Jay.
Hey, partner.
Didn't you tell me you know a guy that's got some heavy equipment? I need a load of dirt.
Don't worry, man. I got you.
Sam, this isn't what I had in mind.
He'll be done any time now.
I knew we should have called J.P. Russ & Son.
Serving Brunswick County since 1947, J.P. Russ & Son has become the local leader in all your heavy equipment needs. We also haul any material, even rock. Give J.P. Russ & Son a call today.
We are part of the first LEGO League. It's a robotics league. It was developed by Dean Kamen. He's a famous inventor, also invented the Segway. Dean and LEGO partnered back in 1999 to develop a robotics league to develop STEM, the science, technology, engineering, math skills for young kids. Now, what we do here for the Academy of Coastal Carolina is we are part of the first LEGO League series of this program. I'd heard about the first LEGO League through one of my nephews. He's also a part of it in a different school system. Thought it would be great for the school, and so I went to the principal and we talked about starting and joining this robotics league. She thought it was a great idea. Instead of doing it with just a few students, we decided to do it as almost a whole curriculum portion for the school. So we have 40 plus students actually working on these robots every Friday for about an hour and a half, learning the STEM skills. It's great to see them, their inquisitive minds. They love trying new things. Of course, it's a safe environment to learn about a lot of these technologies that other places they may not be able to or going to school. It's getting them an early look at some real world activities. These Lego bricks are actually using coding tools, using mechanical type engineering schools, science skills, and they're also learning to work together, which is very important as they grow up and choose careers in the real world. The kids, of course, love playing with Legos. It's hard to not, the first thing you want to do is play with Legos as a kid, and you get to come and play with Legos. But they're also learning something, and really I think it's also bringing them confidence. They're learning how to actually operate a robot and to learn to code. And again, it's in a safe environment. They know they're not going to break anything. And when they see success and when they're learning how to do things, it really gives them confidence that they know that they can do this as they grow up and grow in their skills into the real world. It's great to be part of the community. We are so grateful for ATMC because it's very important. Some of these kits are fairly expensive. So really to be able to have these extra kits and to have all the kids involved and to learn this technology program. Again, the Academy was so thankful for the grant. Very important for us to continue to grow. And we're just, again, so thankful to ATMC for being a part of it.
We are ATMC TV, Channel 3 and HD Channel 910, your community channel.
ATMC TV's Game of the Week is brought to you by J.P. Russ & Son Grading and Clearing, Community Finance of South Carolina, Grissettown Longwood Fire and Rescue's Haunted Trail, the Doghouse Grill 2, Strand Termite and Pest Control, the Brunswick Beacon, and ATMC.
We're back from senior night on the campus of South Brunswick High School. At halftime, Hoggard leads 28-3. Jay, give us a quick recap of that first half action.
Well, Josh Jones, 11 for 16 through the air, 150 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and also added 21 yards rushing and another touchdown, so 171 yards of offense by Jones. And 25-point difference in this game, much of it on the arm and legs of Josh Jones. Declan Hall with a field goal.
22-yarder.
Kept South Brunswick from the goose egg for the first half, and actually that second quarter was kind of close. 7-3 favor of Hoggard, and Hoggard scored with only 5 seconds left.
John Bennett rumbling for yardage down at the 49-yard line, so Bennett picks up 7 yards on the first play from scrimmage of the second half. Jay, I get the sense, based on that formation, Hoggard wants to impose his will physically with the power running game here in the second half.
You know, you'd like to see what they can do if they kind of feature or emphasize the running game, see what that offensive line can do. And you know they got talent, Sam, notwithstanding what they try to do. Look, they got a bunch, 4 receivers at the top.
Really nice design on that play, but a really nice tackle there in the defensive secondary. I believe that's Alex Brown with another big play. That pass was complete from Jones to Hauser, and it was enough for the first down yardage.
You know what? That play, and Hauser's dinged up a little bit. Sam limping off the field, but credit Alex Brown, because I think Brown are
he might have saved a really big play.
Yeah, Hauser could have ran a lot further were it not for the great tackle by Alex Brown.
56. Bennett with a carry. He's brought down by big Norman Jibke.
Yeah, the big guy takes up a lot of space in the middle of that South Brunswick interior.
Porter in on the stop.
Strong kid too, you know, he can just throw those arms out, make arm tackles. You got to be pretty strong. And Jibke at 275 pounds, and also the guy that Coach Rocky Lewis, when they get into the red zone, when they get inside the 5,
carry the ball
in the game.
I thought we might see him on that 1st and goal situation South had in the second quarter there from the 5-yard line, but nevertheless, Jones fakes the snap, rolls out to his right, looking for a receiver. He's going to take off with it. He's got a nice yardage across the 40. He runs out of bounds at the 37-yard line for a gain of 7, and that will bring up a 3rd and 2 situation for the Cougars.
Good coverage that time in the secondary by South. And Jones, despite looking, just couldn't find anybody open, and alertly puts the ball down. Picks up some valuable yards, sets up a 3rd and, what you got? 2.
And, Jay, that's 28 rushing yards for Jones on the night. For a guy who had over 100 coming in through 9 games, that's, pretty notable total for the big senior righty.
Yeah, I think he can run, but he's going to make his money with that big right arm.
A wide open receiver. Jones lost it for Hauser. 37-yard touchdown. Jones to Hauser, and the Vikings strike quickly less than 2 minutes into the second half, and it's Hoggard 34, South Brunswick 3.
You know what I like about that one, Sam, was the touch.
Yeah.
We know he's got a strong arm. We've seen him drill the ball here this evening and make all those kind of strong passes that the good ones make. But that time, just lofted it up. And
let your receiver run under it, right?
Yeah, beautiful throw and catch by Trey Hauser. His 3rd TD pass of the night. He had 5 last week. He's kind of on a roll.
Yeah, Jay, and that's not counting the rushing touchdown he had. Oh, the bobbled snap. Pipkin looking for running room, and he's got none. Tackled at the 8, so the extra point attempt fails by no fault of Kim's. Nevertheless,
so 10:07.
with 10:07 left in the third quarter, it's Hoggard 34, South Brunswick 3, and gives us a chance to thank our viewers who went out and supported the Grissettown Longwood Fire and Rescue Haunted Trail this year. It was open, last night, Tuesday night, Halloween night, and October 30th. As always, a big hit. So a special thanks to our viewers who supported those guys. And from the entire ATMC TV team, we thank them for being a sponsor with us. And, quite frankly, without those guys, this high school football game of the week is nothing. We don't have a show without those sponsors. So we are eternally grateful for those guys, specifically Tao and his team, who put on the Grissettown Longwood Fire and Rescue Haunted Trail.
Well, and right you are, Sam, and probably more important is what these people do all year long, right? They make they make our great community safe, and we certainly thank them for that.
And Jay, a lot of times in the smaller towns, these municipalities, very little funding. So this haunted trail is a benefit to everyone. Certainly us, the people who get to enjoy it, they get a little money. It's a really great thing.
It is a good thing, and again, we're extremely thankful for their continued contribution. Heck, I've been doing this with ATMC now. I think this is my 4th or 5th year, and it seems
they kept you that long.
I know,
Remarkable.
I didn't think my shelf life was that long, but so far it is. That can change quick, though.
Yeah, let's just enjoy what we got tonight.
That's right, yeah.
Ooh, very little running room for the Cougars. That's another tackle for loss in the South Brunswick backfield. Jay, was that Brown on the carry there? It's tough for me to tell.
Yep, that's Brown.
Loss of 1 to the 19.
That's Brown, and that's Mackenzie Frazier in on the stop.
19-yard line, loss of 1.
Jay, question for you, partner. We talk a lot about Pipkin and Josh Jones and Anthony Scavone. This Hoggard defense is probably the best unit on this team. They are so unsung, and they are just so dominant week in, week out. That pass is off of Lee's hands, very nearly intercepted by Hoggard's number 21, Tayshawn James, the junior free safety.
That would have been number 2 on the year for Tayshawn had he been able to come up with it. And you're right, this defensive unit kind of hides in the shadows a little bit because the offense is so predominant. But they only give up 6 points. 6 points.
6. That's less than a touchdown, Jay. Well, less than a touchdown and an extra point. That's remarkable.
You're going to win a lot of football games if you only give up 6 points.
Yeah.
Right? So,
boy, Jay, if they hold New Hanover to less than 6 next week, they will have done something. Well, safe to say their biggest test yet?
I would think so. And maybe the same for New Hanover.
Boy, Phillips drops back. He's under all kinds of pressure, and he runs into his own man right at the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, may have got a few more yards, but he picks up about 3 or 4 yards on the play to the 23-yard line. We'll give him 4, and that's going to bring on Hall and the punt team.
Well,
4th and 7.
It's just tough sledding against this Hoggard defense, and Mason Phillips giving it his all out there for sure, but Hoggard so far tonight and so far all year long, just not tonight, a tough code to crack defensively.
8 minutes, 45 seconds left in the third quarter. Hall retreats, gets the punt off. Pipkin coming up for it. Oh, he very nearly touches it. South Brunswick goes to recover it. I don't believe Pipkin touched it. Waiting on the call from the official. The refs rule that he does not. South Brunswick downs it at the 44-yard line. 33-yard punt from Hall, and the Vikings will take over 1st and 10.
What kind of chancy that time by C.J. Pipkin.
Boy, Jay, Pipkin got lucky there. You either got to get away from it or go catch it, not in between.
Yeah, and he sort of got stuck in no man's land there, and very fortunate for Hoggard that he did not touch the ball. Had he, it would have been a South Brunswick recovery.
Hoggard will take over 1st and 10 from its own 44-yard line. Jones with 3 touchdown strikes and a rushing TD. Other touchdown was Cromartie, 30-yard fumble recovery and return for a touchdown. That handoff goes to Bennett, looking for running room around the left side. He's across the 45, down at the 47. We'll give him 3 yards on the pickup.
Tell you, John Bennett, hard runner.
2nd and 7 for the Vikings.
Falling forward, picking up those little bit of extra yardage. Saw Lloyd Giroux early on tonight, but we haven't seen him lately.
And Jay, a guy that we saw when Hoggard played West Brunswick, Kenneth Marshall, number 4, the junior running back. He led the team in carries in the West Brunswick game. Have not seen him tonight. Don't know that he's active. Hauser, who just caught the touchdown pass, looking for running room. He's got some across the 50 to the 49. Jay, an excellent play by Mason Phillips, who missed Hauser initially, stayed with it, ended up making the tackle himself.
And remember, Phillips is a kid who doesn't get much rest, Sam. If he's either out there, quarterbacking the team or offensively, or he's out there quarterbacking the team defensively from his defensive backfield position, and a nice stop that time. You mentioned Kenneth Marshall. He is the leading rusher coming into tonight's game on the season for Hoggard, 526 yards, but I don't recall him playing tonight.
Nice job by the South Brunswick defense. Jibke was not fooled in that play-action pass. We're waiting on a call from the officials to see if the pass is ruled incomplete. Pipkin with a heck of an effort to come down with it, but they rule that he was out of bounds or either didn't control the catch. But that was nice.
I give him that catch. What a great effort by C.J. Pipkin. That was probably a little closer than what maybe the officials have ruled. But anyway, they have ruled that he was out of bounds. But don't take away the acrobatic effort on the part of C.J. Pipkin, and a pretty strong delivery by the man, Josh Jones.
And Jay, I don't know, but I believe the officials may have even been a little surprised that he didn't come up with it because nobody made a call. They were like, wow, he caught that?
Yeah, that was a great catch.
Morton to receive the punt for Hoggard. It's a high snap. Hoggard calls the fake, and Morton's across the 50, very close. Jay, it's going to be very close. I am right at the marker, and he is brought down right at the line to gain. Going to be interesting. We also had a late flag that came in. I'm going to let you sort all this out.
Well, the mark is going to be everything, and then we'll have to see how the penalty affects it. But it is right, Sam, as you described it, very, very, very close to what appears to be the first down marker.
Jay, maybe a holding flag that'll come in late. Hard to tell.
Well, it came in.
You don't see a fake punt all the time, so it's, I like to say flag thrown in the general area of, but you don't see a lot of flags on fake punts.
So Sam, you're up 34-3, and you fake a punt.
I can only assume that the fake punt was the call. It was a high snap, so maybe Morton thought maybe it was going to get blocked if he kicked it. I don't know, Jay. It looked like that was by design.
But might not have been. They've had.
If it was called, boy, it's borderline.
Well, he's already called holding too against Hoggard, so.
Yeah, but Jay, if he is short, then South Brunswick can decline the holding penalty and get a first down here near midfield instead of Hoggard having the chance to punt again. It was a first down, but it's holding on the Vikings, Jay. So Hoggard's punt team is going to still be on the field, and now they'll probably actually kick this one.
So, punting has been a little bit of an adventure for Hoggard here this evening, and in the sense that some of the snaps have been not what Coach Underwood would want for sure. So on that particular one, I don't know if it was that was a design play or not. The snap was high, and Morton went up to get it, and when he came back down, he quickly
it just took off.
Yeah. So let's see. The officials are sorting this one out.
Yeah, Jay, they're just going to move it back. They're going to move it back. It's still going to be fourth down, and I believe Hoggard will have to punt again, right?
I think you got it because they had picked up the first. So South is going to accept the penalty.
It is still fourth down, so essentially, Jay, we're just going to replay that. And we'll wait to see where the ball's marked to see the down and distance.
And let's see if, in fact, Hoggard elects to punt the ball this time. If there's a
to see if they made it, so they could.
It's marked at the 44-yard line.
The holding penalty does.
So it's going to be 4th and 10.
They're going to have a 4th down from their own 44-yard line.
And Jay, you mentioned earlier, you get into the playoffs or against New Hanover next week, and these punting adventures that Hoggard has had, that's something that's going to have to be cleaned up before the New Hanover, effectively a conference championship game, and then the state 4A playoffs, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. You and you wouldn't expect to see some of the inconsistencies in this on week 10. Those are things that you might see very early in the season, but by this time. You would expect it to be a little more consistent, but they'll figure it out. Don't worry about that. They will figure it out.
It's a well-coached football team.
Oh, yeah.
This Hoggard team.
It's like we were saying before. They got a program at Hoggard.
This time it's a good snap. Morton's punt goes straight up in the air, bounces at the 33, and it takes the South Brunswick bounce at about the 35-yard line. Just a 21-yard punt by Morton. And after all that, Jay, South Brunswick's going to get the ball back about where it, would have, about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, Morton is a very capable punter, Sam, averaging nearly 38 yards per kick on the season, but hasn't been able to demonstrate that here this evening.
South Brunswick 1st and 10 from its own 35-yard line. It's Hoggard 34, South Brunswick 3 on your ATMC TV Game of the Week from Jack Campbell Stadium. High snap. Phillips tosses it out to the right. Nice looking play by South Brunswick as the ball carrier, Alex Brown, is across the 40-yard line. Dropped down to about the 41 for about a 6-yard pickup.
Yeah,
now they're going to rule him down at the 45 yards for Brown.
Yeah, clearly, Alex Brown, the sophomore back, been the featured running back tonight for the Cougars and has had a pretty solid game doing it. Keyshawn Smith, normally one who gets a lot of playing time running the football, not so much tonight.
Brown takes another handoff. This time he fights his way for a yard, maybe 2, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Cougars.
Brown on the carry. It'll bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Cougars from their 41.
So Phillips trying to figure out a way to move the chains and, more importantly, advance this ball downfield. Got a 3rd, very good down and distance situation, 3rd and 4.
Boy, that pitch goes to Alex Brown, and he's fighting for room around the left side. He does, Jay. Big-time run by the sophomore Alex Brown. Makes a defender miss. Hoggard's number 21, Tayshawn James, was down for a brief moment, but he gets up, retreats to the defensive side. Big gain of 7 yards for Brown for the 1st down.
Sam Hickman, what can Brown do for you, my man?
He can run for 1st downs, that's for sure.
Absolutely. He's had a pretty solid game running here tonight. Again, only a 10th grader. Really like to see these young guys get a chance to play at the varsity level and make the most of it.
Jay, I believe that is number 8. No, that's 9. Isaiah McDonald on the carry across midfield. And Jay, South Brunswick finding a few gaps here and there in the running game.
That offensive line doing a pretty good job on this possession of grinding out some holes and some opportunities for these running backs to advance the ball.
Matt Clark in motion. He gets it. Oh, he slips a couple Hoggard tacklers, and Clark still on his feet. Really nice open field tackle there on the other side of the field. I believe that was Cade Edwards on the tackle for Hoggard, but a positive gain for Clark. He picks up 3 yards and another 3rd and 3 for South Brunswick.
Yeah, that was a pretty good stop by Edwards that time because Matt Clark is a football player, and
I don't know how Clark evaded the first 2 Hoggard tacklers. Well, really nice running.
He did. He did. He's a nice player.
Third and 3 for the Cougars. Phillips, one hand the snap, still on his feet. He's eventually dropped by big Christian Holler, number 9, who's been fairly quiet by his standards tonight, but he made his presence known on that one as he drops Phillips for a loss of 4.
Boy, he's quick, isn't he, Sam? Is Christian Holler.
And 7.
Yeah, his size doesn't quite match his speed. He's awfully fast for a big guy.
19 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and just kind of knifed in there really quickly that time. And Mason Phillips did a great job of bringing down a high snap.
7 for the Cougars from the Vikings, 49.
Jay, this South Brunswick drive is taking up about 3 minutes off the game clock. Let's see if they can keep it going on 4th down. Phillips fakes the handoff, rifles a pass to Clark. Oh, and it's ruled incomplete. Clark very nearly came up with an amazing catch inside the 40, but they ruled that the ball hit the ground. Jay, just a little low on the throw because Clark ran a great route and was open. Phillips, that's a tough throw going to your left for a right-handed quarterback. I've heard you say that many times.
Yeah, and yet, he delivered a pretty good throw. It was just a tad low, but gosh, credit Matt Clark for making what a great attempt that time, and probably a throw that wasn't anywhere close to being completed. He almost came up with the circus catch.
Yeah, Jay, that's 2 great, quote, catches we've seen, one by Pipkin, one by Clark, that were both ruled incomplete, but great individual efforts.
For sure.
Jones in the single back formation, hands off to Bennett. Bennett's got a lot of real estate around the left side, Jay. He gets about 9 yards before he's pushed out of bounds, and I believe all that was for naught, as a holding flag, I believe, was thrown there in the Hoggard backfield.
Yeah, probably going to come back and take away a pretty productive run that time by John Bennett.
Jay, for 2 weeks in a row, the Yellow Hankies have been a bugaboo for this Hoggard team.
Yeah, again, something that you wouldn't expect a team with Hoggard's talent and ability. And, Craig Underwood's been around this game a long time, Sam, so probably not real happy about those kinds of mistakes, but again,
so 10-yard penalty, spot the foul. The ball is now going to be spotted.
A very well-coached, disciplined football team are the Hoggard Vikings, and I expect when the games start next week for sure, in that kind of battle of the city, if you will, against New Hanover, and then the following week for a playoff start for Hoggard, might be a little different look.
Jay, you feel like Hoggard's better equipped to handle these long down and distance situation with the way they throw the ball? Jones rifles it all the way across the field. The receiver falls. Phillips almost there for the interception. I believe it hit Bennett's foot.
Well, that was John, Bennett. And you know what? He tripped and fell down, and I think the ball still hit him in the hands.
He might have saved the interception there.
So,
close to an interception, but it fell.
Once again, that ball was in the air, Sam, a long way.
Man, he threw that ball a long way, all the way from over by us to the far sideline and 30 yards down the field.
That's, again, if you're measuring the kind of arm strength that a quarterback has, I think Josh Jones passes with flying colors.
Jones in the pocket. He's got all day. Finally is flushed out to his left, and he's got a big gain on the ground. Picks up about 10 yards of it back. At least it's now a 3rd and manageable, and that also means Jones is approaching the 40-yard rushing mark.
Well, you know what, and credit South with some pretty good defensive secondary play then, because Jones had all kinds of time, just could not find anybody to deliver the ball to, and tucks it away and picks up some good yards. But South doing a good job of defending the pass on that play.
Jay, another thing I've noticed South has done really well tonight is a lot of times Hoggard makes a lot of big plays when Jones is flushed out and finds receivers downfield. They've not allowed one of those plays yet tonight. And Jones is going to run it again. He's got the first down and more inside the 40-yard line of the Cougars. Oh, Jay, we got a flag way back at the 38-yard line of Hoggard, and that negates a 15-yard rush. and we'll bring up about a 3rd and country mile situation.
You know, South is getting some pressure on Jones, and I think what's happening is when Josh tucks the ball away, his offensive linemen, they're gassed. They're just hanging on, trying to keep the South rushers away from Josh Jones. He tucks it away and runs, but wipe it off because of the holding call against Hoggard. So penalties for the 2nd week in a row, kind of the only downside to what so far have been pretty convincing Hoggard victories.
Jay, do you get the sense that the Hoggard offense has just not ever established much of an offensive rhythm tonight, or am I seeing it wrong?
No, I don't think so at all. You know, the first drive was kind of rhythmic, right? Boom, 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 down the field and score. But after that, you know, the second touchdown was on Cromartie's fumble recovery and return. Their touchdown, the only touchdown in the second quarter was after a fumble, and they scored with only 5 seconds left. So
yeah. 3rd and 32, Jay. A throwback screen. That pass is complete to, I think that's 14, Evan. I take that back. That's number 11, Austin Edwards with the catch. He's dropped at the 30-yard line, picks up 3 yards.
30-yard line of the Vikings. That'll bring up 4th
and good defense by South on that play. They kind of stayed at home, if you will, and tackled Edwards only after a couple of gain on the play. So Will Morton back for another punting attempt, which has been a little bit of a challenge here tonight for the Vikings. Let's see how they do it this time.
South Brunswick 2 men deep to return. Morton catches that one. Gets a better punt off this time. South signaling for a fair catch, and then they let it drop between the 2 return men, and it is down at the 30-yard line. A 40-yard punt by Morton. Much better effort that time.
Well, it was, and you know what was also much better about it was the snap. That ball hit Will Morton right in his gut, right at his belt line. So he was able to easily catch the snap and got into his punt. Just a nice execution of the punt that time by the Vikings. And Morton, that's around his average. He averages about 38 yards a kick. He even beat it by a couple that time. You know, in the kick game, Sam, we forget, you know, we just focus on the kicker, but there's a placeholder, there's a snapper, there's a lot of people involved.
Big gain up the middle for... Oh, Jay, I'm having a tough time with the numbers. I believe that's Brown again.
Could be.
It is Alex Brown all the way out to the 44-yard line. He picks up 14 yards.
He busted a hole real quick in the middle of that Hoggard defensive line. Not an easy thing to do. And AB, Alex Brown, hit it quick. Picked up a first down for the Cougars of South Brunswick.
Jay, have you seen any JV football action in the area this season?
Seen West play a little bit this year, and they've actually had, I am told, one of their better junior varsity campaigns. And that's where it all starts, you know. You get, and we got a player down now. Is that Brown?
We have a Cougar player shaking up on the play.
Cougar is shaking up on the play. Jay, I believe that is the ball carrier. Good to see him help to his feet. Remember, he was tackled awkwardly in the first half there on the far sideline. Maybe that same ankle, hard to tell.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Well, he's certainly had a big night tonight.
He's been hit a lot this evening too, you know, so it may be as much as cumulative as much as anything else for Alex Brown, but certainly a real good effort by the sophomore tonight. He's smiling. Maybe we'll see him back.
That's Deshaun Lee who makes the grab, looking for some running room. He's got just a little bit as James wrestles him out of bounds near midfield out to the South Brunswick 47, 2-yard pickup.
Gain of 2 will bring up 3rd down.
So another 3rd down situation for the Cougs, and enough 30-odd seconds left here in the 3rd quarter, so let's see what Mason Phillips and his teammates can do.
Phillips in the shotgun. Looks for a receiver. He's got a man. That's Keyshawn Smith. Does a nice job eluding one Hoggard tackler. We'll call it to the Hoggard 48, picks up 5 yards. That's going to set up a 4th down, but not before the end of the 3rd quarter. Heading into the 4th period, Hoggard 34, South Brunswick 3. And in between quarters, we'll take this opportunity to thank a trio of this year's Game of the Week sponsors. The Brunswick Beacon is your community newspaper since 1962. It's your source for local news, sports, and features. Subscribe to the Beacon today. Call 754-6890 or go to brunswickbeacon.com. Also, a reminder to visit the Beacon's Holiday Happening Show on Saturday, November 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Shallotte Middle School. We'd also like to thank Community Finance of South Carolina, which offers personal and title loans with the most competitive rates in the area. Located right across the border in Little River, Community Finance provides quick approval so you can have cash in minutes. Visit them online at cfscloans.com. And for the company in which Jay Combs starred in the commercial, J.P. Russ & Son. Serving Brunswick County since 1947, J.P. Russ & Son has become the local leader in all your heavy equipment needs. Paving, grading, clearing, drainage, and much more. They'll haul any material, even rock. Give J.P. Russ & Son a call at 754-6023.
Well, let's
Jay,
be
you
honest.
still need that load of dirt?
Anytime now. Listen, the stars of that commercial were Huck Hickman and Rascal the Wonder
Varnum.
Dog.
Yeah, Rascal the Wonder Dog. Man, let me tell you, if there's a prettier dog out there, I want to see him. Rascal's a legend. He's a legend.
Just ask Yogi Hickman. What Yogi Hickman say?
The first thing he said when I showed him the commercial was, "Beautiful dog, not great job, grandson," or "I'm proud of you, son." It was, "Whose dog?"
Hey, Rascal is a dynamite dog.
Phillips carries it, Jay, and picks up a yard, but he's going to be a yard short.
I think he is, Sam. A gallant. Well, I don't know. Sam, they got a pretty favorable spot.
Oh, Jay, a very favorable spot there. I may have spoke too soon.
Yeah, well, let's see. Oh, there you go, Sam. They moved that one back.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and I believe they did get it right when they moved it back, Jay. It looked like Phillips was well short.
Yeah.
It's going to be first down.
So all you want to just, the officials have such a difficult job to do sometimes, and as long as they get it right, that's what you hope for. And I think they did get it spotted right on that second attempt. So ball goes over to the Vikings of Hoggard with 11:55 to go here in the game. 34-3, Hoggard on top. Another big night for Josh Jones through the air and on the ground for Mr. Jones tonight.
Mr. Jones and me. Who sang that?
I don't know.
Come on, production guys. I'm counting on you. The Counting Crows. Nathan Evers for the win.
Yeah.
I think he's right. As Bennett carries up the middle for 2 yards.
What county are they from?
Counting, as in you're counting numbers.
That's their name?
The Counting Crows.
The Counting, not the County Crows, not like Brunswick County Crows, but counting, like I'm counting numbers?
That's right.
That's the best name them guys could come up with?
It seemed to work for them.
Jeez, Flip, you young
Jeez,
people.
Pete.
You young people.
When I was in school, Hoggard 2nd and 8 from its own 49-yard line. Bennett's got more running room that time, all the way across the South Brunswick 45, brought down at the 42 for 9 yards and a first down.
Sam, Bennett runs hard. He's not that big. He's only 170 pounds, but boy, let me tell you, when he's coming at you, he's coming at you from about 5 different directions. What a solid effort by John Bennett tonight.
Yeah, Jay, and Bennett approaching 15 carries on the night and more as he takes the pitch around the right side across the 40, brought down at about the 36-yard line. He picks up 6 more there.
Boy, I tell you, them legs are boom, 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 boom. They're moving.
And Jay, one thing with Bennett, when he hits the line of scrimmage, he's going full speed. There's no pitter-pattering.
Yeah, there's not much hesitation for sure. John Bennett. He only had, well, I shouldn't say only, he had 205 yards on the ground coming into tonight's game, and golly day, he's really cracked close to that tonight. It seems like. There he goes again.
That's a counter play for Hoggard, and it works beautifully across the 30. See if they give him the 29. Picks up about 6 or 7 yards there as the ball is marked at the 29-yard line, so we'll give Bennett 7 yards and a Hoggard first down.
Tell you what, South Brunswick's probably not going to win this football game tonight, but that South Brunswick band is pretty doggone good.
You got that right.
We've been here a few times this year, and they put on a pretty good show every time.
Boy, Jay, this is all John Bennett on this drive, powering his way across the 25 down to the 22 or 23, so he picks up 6 or 7 more on that carry.
Getting some help from the guys up front. 66 E.B. Pancook that time. Downfield, 73 Dimitri Brown. It's their version of what Brown can do for you. 54 Donovan Simmons. Another one of the big guys up front. Wyatt Workman. So across that front line right now, Hoggard doing a pretty good job, and Bennett the beneficiary.
Boy, Jay, Bennett with another carry across the 20 down to about the 15-yard line. He picks up 8 yards, and he's got about 40 rushing yards on this drive.
Well, he's been the go-to guy for much of the night on the ground for Hoggard, and certainly on this drive it has been the John Bennett show. How many yards he's got on the game, Sam, but certainly 75, 80 easily, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, and he's approaching 20 carries as he's had 6 alone on this drive.
So a pretty good night's work for the senior John Bennett.
6 carries, 38 yards for Bennett on this drive. 2, 9, 6, 7, 6, and 8. And he's going to get a chance to add to that total with the tall sweep around the right side, making some defenders miss. Inside the 5-yard line, Jay, he was about a centimeter short of a touchdown there as the ball will be placed inside the 1-yard line.
Well,
14 yards for Bennett.
Credit 44, Drew Medley, junior fullbacker, who really had a great block. Just blasted one of the Cougar defenders out of the way that time and allowed Bennett to cut and pick up some great yards. So we talked earlier, you asked me about how do you defend Hoggard, and you know they're such a prolific passing team. You want to see if they can run the football. Well, on this drive, Sam Hickman, I think they've showed their capability of running the ball.
And Bennett's going to get rewarded as he fights for yardage around the right side. He's across the goal line for a Hoggard touchdown. Bennett with 8 carries, 53 yards on that drive, and punctuates the drive with a 1-yard touchdown off right tackle. And with 8 minutes, 8 seconds left in the game, it's Vikings 40, Cougars 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bennett's going to sleep well tonight. just by virtue of that possession, because it was the John Bennett show, along with some help from his offensive line and the good block by Medley.
Hoggard going to try and get the extra point this time after Pipkin dropped the hold on the last point after attempt. And that kick is no good, but it looked like a couple South Brunswick players had quite a head start there.
Wow.
That is offsides.
Encroachment against the Cougars.
Now remember, Kim, coming into this evening's game, 43 of 46. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's made 4 tonight. So 47 for 50. Can't count that one that he didn't even get a chance to kick. Trying to say is very accurate kicker.
No, Jay, Kim is going to be quite a weapon and come playoff time if you need a big kick to win a game.
And lots of practice, Sam.
That kick is up, and he really boomed that one through. And with the extra point, Hoggard leads 41-3. 8:08 left in the game.
Sam, I think, gosh, I'm trying to see who was holding the ball that time. It was either Pipkin, which would not surprise me. I think it was
Pipkin is the holder, yep.
Yeah, and he did a great job. That was a high snap that time, but Pipkin went up and got it, set it down, and Kim knows what to do.
Our Game of the Week team would like to thank ATMC for its sponsorship. Serving our community for more than 60 years, ATMC is your local provider for telephone, internet, digital cable, wireless, and home security. ATMC is a local company with local priorities. Contact them today at 755-8206 or check them out on the web at atmc.com. Jay, let me ask you something, partner.
Yep.
If you're South Brunswick, how do you regroup, recover from this tonight when next week you're going on the road for arguably the biggest game for this South Brunswick program in a decade next week at West Brunswick? How do you do that?
You break down the film, you figure out what you did good, and you praise them, you figure out what you need to improve, and you help them do that, and just get ready to go. Next week it'll be for all the money for South and West Brunswick. So this game is this game, but it'll be over. The sun will come up tomorrow, and Coach Lewis and his staff will get the kids ready to travel over to Charlotte on Friday night of next week and go up against Kelly Williamson's Trojans.
It's a big one in Charlotte next week. Check out the ATMC TV Games of the Week on Wednesday and Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Big time hit by number 22, who I do not have on my roster for the Vikings, but that was a big time hit. Looked like 3 of them got in there and knocked down the ball carrier. Jay, did you see who that was carrying the ball?
All I could see was 22 just devouring the ball carrier. That must be Vic Varnum from who knows where, parts unknown, right? We don't know who 22, probably up from JV, but what a vicious hit.
Well, that was Smith on the carry there. You spoke about him earlier, Jay. Keyshawn Smith, we saw him catch a pass in the first half. We'll give him a loss of 1 there to bring up a 3rd and 9.
Sam, you know what I didn't realize about South? Keyshawn Smith, one of their leading rushers, and of course we've seen Alex Brown tonight. They're both sophomores.
Oh yeah, they got some guys coming back.
Yeah,
now.
man.
And Mason Phillips is back.
He's a junior, so he's back. So you got some parts there to work with for next year. They still got more football left this year.
And Jay, also worth noting, that's a new quarterback in for South Brunswick. That's number 5, Jalen Parker. He returned the kick, Jay. Catch this, returned the kick, stayed in, and is now playing quarterback. He's a 5'6", 142-pound junior quarterback. 3 straight handoffs there, netted about 2 yards. And South Brunswick's going to bring on Hall in the punt team.
Well, and, God love Mason Phillips. The kid needs a break. He needs a rest.
Yeah, and good game experience for Parker, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because you never know when you're only a snap away from coming in.
A nice high spiral kick from Hall. Pipkin with a nice fair catch on the run inside the Hoggard 35-yard line.
35-yard line.
Looks like they're going to mark it down at the 35, where Hoggard will take over 1st and 10.
And Pipkin, one of those kinds of kids you kind of, the more you watch, the more you like.
He does everything so nonchalantly, but he's such a good football player.
Exactly. He makes a lot of good play. I'm impressed just when, on the holding the kicks for Kim, that last snap, that thing was up in the air, and he just went up nonchalantly, grabbed it, put it down, spun it the laces, and boom, Kim hits it.
Jay, one of those, he might not stand out, his attributes as far as speed and size, the kind of kid that will win them a football game in the 4A playoffs.
Oh.
You heard it here first. If he catches a game-winning pass or something, makes a big play late, don't be surprised.
New quarterback.
New quarterback for the Vikings. Good call, partner.
Wyatt Quigley, a junior, getting some snaps, getting some game time experience. Sam, you can do this in practice all day long, but there's nothing like you can't replicate game conditions. And So Quigley getting an opportunity to get some valuable experience for Coach Craig Underwood's squad here tonight.
And Jay, just like you just said, you never can tell. Say the first round of the playoffs, God forbid something happens to Josh Jones. You know, they're going to need this kid.
You're one play away every time.
Gain of about 5 yards on the play for Hoggard. That is number 14, Evan Manning. We saw Manning catch a touchdown earlier. He picks up 5 yards on that carry.
So sets up a third and call
10.
it 10, I guess, Sam, for Mr. Quigley and the Hoggard football Vikings.
Wyatt Quigley. He might win the best name award
That's a good
this year,
name.
Jay. Wyatt, he sounds like a quarterback.
He does.
That's Manning again. He fights his way back to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to set up a 4th and 10 situation for the Vikings.
A good charge that time in the center of the line by Cougars number 56, Campbell Woody.
And Jay, I was just speaking to Campbell Woody's grandmother at halftime.
How was
Maybe he's a junior, so he's still got some time, but considering the Citadel and West Point
Yikes.
for his college choices.
Tell you what, 6'2", 245, 3 sacks on the year, 32 tackles. Campbell Woody.
Some movement on the Hoggard line there, and that's going to be a false start, and Morton's going to have to punt it from back even deeper now.
Again, punting, an adventure for the Vikings tonight. Otherwise, pretty darn solid effort by Hoggard.
As always, a big thank you to the Doghouse Grill 2, your neighborhood hotspot, serving breakfast all day, delicious handmade burgers, deli sandwiches, gourmet Red Barn coffee, and dessert to satisfy your sweet tooth. It's open 7 days for breakfast and lunch on Beach Drive in Ocean Isle Beach. Morton booms it from his own 20-yard line to the South Brunswick return man who thought about returning it for a split second. That's Brown, who has done a little bit of everything tonight. Carried it 15 times, returned punts, intercepted a pass, and he falls down at the 40-yard line of South Brunswick.
You know, he's good and he's smart, too.
Yeah, that's right. Nice to see him back on the field after exiting with an injury.
He had a smile. He's got a smile on his face now. He had a smile on his face when he limped off before. I like that kid. I like them guys that to take a hit and keep on smiling, right?
Yeah, they're either funny or crazy. One of the two.
Maybe a little bit of each. Probably got to be.
Parker still in at quarterback for South Brunswick. He keeps that one around the right side. He loses the first tackler. Jay still on his feet, and picks up 5 yards. Nice looking run by Jalen Parker.
Well, that gives you some confidence, doesn't it? He's not a big guy at 5'6", Sam. Not big at all. 142 pounds they listed, but boy, he's at 142 pounds. It's tough. It's all tough.
6 yards on the game from Parker. He is across the 45 to the 46.
Man, look at them high top shoes he's got on there, Sam Hickman.
Does it take you back, partner?
Yes, indeedy.
Read option play. That handoff was to Smith. Down to about the 49-yard line. We'll give him 3 yards to bring up a 3rd and 1.
Smith on the carry. 49-yard line to spot. That'll bring up 3rd and 1.
Jay, assess the differences you've seen in this South Brunswick team, in the past years and early in the season to where they're at right now.
Well, this is we got maybe a delay of game.
We have a flag
So
on the play.
I would say this year, compared to years past, marked improvement. And
Sure.
we saw that at the Jamboree, Sam. Remember, way back when, in the hot days of August, when South
That's enough to
was at the BB&T, and I think it was smack north, right in the mouth.
Yeah,
right?
14-0, right?
And we said, hey, wait a minute. We didn't expect that. And Coach Lewis's squad has just continued their pretty solid play all year. Again, they lost 3 games this year by 7 points or less, so their record a wee bit deceiving, but I'll tell you what's not deceiving about them is their grit and their determination and their willingness to just hang in there with you and punch their way out.
Smith picks up 2 yards to the 44-yard line.
So he's
gain of 2.
Coach Lewis, I think, has things headed in the right direction here in Boiling Springs, and
2 conference wins for the Cougars this year.
It's big, and they got a chance for another one, next week against West.
Parker tries to keep that one around the left side, and he finds no running room. And in between these plays, we'd like to thank finally Strand Termite and Pest Control, which is locally owned and operated and has been serving the Carolinas for more than 45 years. It provides comprehensive pest control services to ensure the safety and health of your workplace or residents. Using integrated pest management techniques and new science, it proudly offers you today's most effective treatments. Enjoy fast and friendly service along with affordable prices from Strand Termite and Pest Control Company. Jay, wrap up this one for me, partner.
Well, what kind of package do you want? There's, listen, Hoggard's better than South at this point. Hoggard's better than just about everybody they play, and next week when they go up against New Hanover, we'll get an appreciation for just how good they are. But too much Josh Jones, just too many talented players for Hoggard. But I just kind of like the fact that South Brunswick, even though they're way on the short end of the score here, they're still in the game playing hard. They're still in the game working. They're running plays out. I think
they stood toe-to-toe in that second quarter, didn't they?
That's a better way to describe it. It's a blowout, but they're just tough. And when you're watching any kind of sport, you just like to see the teams play hard, and that's what South has done here this evening. They've just run into what's a superior team, Sam. And there's a reason that Hoggard in another 41 seconds is going to be 10-0. They're good. They're good. Who was it? Lou Holtz said, "Don't forget the other team gives scholarships too," right? So Hoggard's got a lot of good players. They got a great coach in Underwood. They have a program there, a rich tradition of winning, and they've showed that here in many ways, shapes, and form tonight.
Yeah, Jay, you don't get to 10-0 by accident. Hoggard is a great high school football team.
They're, 5 in the state this week? In
4A. I mean, that's the cream of the crop. Yeah. The best of the best teams, and Hoggard's right there with them all.
Yeah, so, And
Hoggard takes the knee.
A reminder to our viewers, ATMC TV's Game of the Week will come to you next week from M.H. Rourke Stadium in Charlotte, when these same South Brunswick High School Cougars will travel down 130 to take on the West Brunswick Trojans with a 3A playoff berth on the line. In tonight's game, the Hoggard Vikings, the undefeated Hoggard Vikings, were just a little too much for the Cougars. Hoggard 41, South Brunswick 3. Jake, final thoughts?
Well, Josh Jones, one of the premier quarterbacks, and that matchup next week against New Hanover with Blake Walston, that's one you want to go pay to see. That's going to be a heck of a game. And again, congratulations to South for coming out on the short end here tonight, but not because of their effort. They worked hard. They just ran into a much better football team.
And Jay, also a big shout out to these seniors at South Brunswick who perhaps played their final game at Jack Campbell Stadium in Bowling Spring Lakes in front of their home crowd. For Jay Combs, Aaron Varnum, and Nathan Evers, I'm Sam Hickman. Thank you for joining us on your ATMC TV High School Football Game of the Week from Jack Campbell's. It's Hoggard 41, South Brunswick 3. Good night.
We are ATMC TV, Channel 3 and HD Channel 910, your community channel.